Good evening and welcome to Movie Watch Live with me, Pete Mack, and my guest here tonight, Carl Hungus. And tonight we'll be watching the classic movie, The Beastmaster from 1982. Good evening, Carl. Have you got anything that you'd like to say before we start the movie?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Pete, again. And tonight we're looking forward to the Beastmaster. And your choice of the word "classic" is a bit loose.
Yes,
but that's all right because the fans have spoken, and we're here to take a look.
yes.
We are unburdened by the fact that there's not a whole lot to the story in terms of symbology and other things we might want to unpack. I mean, there's a little bit here and there, and we'll touch on those points, but it's not going to be as intensive as some of our other streams have been. So we're could be a little easier on us tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
But in the meantime, it's just an action-packed fight fest, so you can enjoy that if that's all you're here for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the reason the fans picked this one is because it is entertaining. It ticks all the box for entertainment, and one of the big things about this movie is it's a fan favorite. So as usual, what we'll do is have a countdown. I'll count down from 3 to 1, and then I'll say go. And then when I say go, you can start the movie at home. And whether you're watching it on DVD or whether you're watching it as a stream copy, whichever, if you're just getting that ready now.
And we'd be remiss not to mention the fact that it is free on YouTube. So anyone watching.
Yes, it is. So if anybody wanted to watch it that way, then we leave it up to you to do that. And
well, I mean, you could open two screens and listen to us and mute that. And that's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd need to mute. Well, actually, no. If you have two tabs open, one YouTube listening to us, and the other tab with the movie, if you keep them both open, you should be able to hear both and watch the movie at the same time. So also, I should mention that the other regular guest of the show, Aldous Huxley, will be joining us later on towards the end of the show. So without further ado, we'll get the film started. So if everybody's ready, I'll just start counting down now. Of course, we'll give you, if anybody wants a time index throughout the show, just let us know in the chat window and we'll give you a time index. So if you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
There we go. We got the veteran goal, MGM Lion.
Yeah, I just have to turn down the volume on that.
Yeah, I've got mine turned a bit. Leisure Investment Company presents a Don Coscarelli film.
A guy that with the name Don Coscarelli should own a company named Leisure Entertainment or whatever that
was. Yeah. And a lot of other things.
Oh man, already the title, it looks like it's from a TV show or something. You remember that old Planet of the Apes TV show from back in the 70s? It looks like credits to that. So weird.
Yeah. I think with this one, you've got to sort of view it as a sort of classic low budget movie, and if you take it on its own merits,
Now, it was produced for $9 million. Was that considered low budget at the time?
Yeah, I mean, if we compare it to Conan, which was the same year, so a lot of people compare this with Conan, released in the same year. Conan had a budget of $20 million. This had a budget of $9 million. If anybody who's interested, well, you know how we viewed Krull before. That was $30 million. So it puts into perspective that this is done in a very low budget.
So Dino De Laurentiis knows how to budget his movies.
He does, yeah. It just shows you how much of the productions. And
so we've got that stone face right there. Do you think that was an intentional Green Man reference or just blind luck?
It could be, yeah. It also reminds me of sort of a Greek style as well. So I think they're trying to, with the doorways and things like that, they're trying to make slightly different ancient references is a
Yeah,
ziggurat.
one thing I noticed with a lot of these movies that are set in like fictional times and stuff is they kind of just blend the cultures. Like we're seeing like a Mesoamerican style pyramid right here. And so that's cool. I mean, you take the most interesting aspects of some of these different mythologies and blend them into your own mythology. That's what writers do.
So we're straight on to high tea. Whoops, a daisy.
What are they doing? That is a blue dolphin right there, I think.
It is. Now, these are the three really sexy witches who you're going to get a surprise, though, when you see what happens. It's like, yes, they look quite nice. And then
grinding on that table, though, it's strange.
Yeah. And then suddenly, it's like, there's Rip Torn. And Rip Torn,
actor.
yeah, who we know from Men in Black, played, was it Zed in Men in Black? Yeah. Which is interesting because the king in this story is actually King Zed.
Oh, a little guy back there. Nice.
Yeah.
I wonder if that wasn't. He almost has like Vulcan eyebrows going on.
Oh,
yeah. That's a double bagger right there. That's a double bagger.
It's the old phrase you hear in working men's clubs and pubs. Nice legs, shame about the face.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, Rip Torn.
Like a Vulcan from Star
Trek.
Trek.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. He asked the makeup people to make him look like a bird. So he wanted to have that sort of like bird of prey look. So he's got like a prosthetic. What's he called? Prosthetic nose. And pointy eyebrows to make him look like a bird.
He does. He has bird-like features. Yeah, he has that Aqualine kind of facial features. Yeah. Here we go with this shit again. Thanks a lot, Hollywood. More leather armor.
Yeah. If that.
Yeah. Well, leather nipple straps.
I think basically this film saved money on the budget by having no wardrobe. Everybody's walking around with like the bare minimum clothing on.
Loincloths and other things.
Yeah.
There's John Amos of television fame, wasn't he on
yeah.
It was oh crap.
He was in wasn't he in Coming to America? He played the owner of the
Coming to America. He was in Coming to America. He's in Roots. He was in
he's been loads of
Good Times. He's on Good Times. He's the dad on Good Times.
Yeah. It's been in absolutely loads. And he's 79 now. He was born in 1939. So this is the bit where Rip Torn's character,
he's got
shows how devoted. So Rip Torn's playing Maax or Maax.
So he's kind of got that Thulsa Doom thing going on.
Yeah, he has, and he sort of demonstrates.
He's Kroger's Thulsa Doom.
Yeah, Kroger. I mean, in a way, I think I suppose we're watching Kroger the Barbarian here.
Kroger the Barbarian.
Suspend all disbelief. Right, this is supposed to be a cow the witch uses, but look at what's hanging under there. That's not a cow.
Yeah,
that's the cow version of the girthy stallion, I think.
It is. It almost looks like they're in like an orc village from 40K or something.
Yeah, you just need some sort of big robot trash cans and stuff. Right.
Now we're going into the boudoir.
Yeah.
Whose boudoir is this? Oh, there we go.
Now, if that's the king's quarters, she's just gone into a normal hut. So there's obviously didn't have the money to build like a proper palace or anything.
He's on the travel.
Yeah. King Kroger.
And you got these this creepy guy creeping on her.
So this is one of the three witches who's gonna take the baby from her and put it into a cow.
That is strange. That is an odd concept. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think the only sort of similarities I can think of with that is Greek myth. I don't know what the significance of the tattoo is. I mean, it's referenced later, but I can't understand what the significance is other than that.
Oh, the tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, they a lot of times in these fantasy things they use as the trope of how to
Yeah.
identify the true heir or whatever.
Yeah.
The cow in this child in the cow almost has
Mm.
a like a Roman vibe to it, where Romulus and Remus were raised by the
Yeah.
wolf,
Yeah.
whereas what's his name, Drac or whatever, is going to be
No.
raised by the cow.
Yeah. I mean, there was Europa, wasn't there? There was the rape of Europa.
Mm-hmm.
I think when Zeus came in the form of a bull
Right, Zeus came
to rape
pregnant.
the woman. So maybe that's a reference there. But so King Zed's been totally cooked here, and he's had his baby taken away and put into a cow / bull. His wife's just died. The queen's just died in that process, and the witch is just cackling away, saying, we've
So
cooked
he's
you
having a
there.
bad day.
Yeah, it's been cooked. Still not as bad as going to see Captain Marvel, though.
And we got Casey Azawa in the chat. Hail, Casey. How are you?
Hail!
Sorry to interrupt that. Yes, I agree with your last statement, Casey. May those who want to swat our brothers go to hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
There will be a legal consequence to committing acts like that.
And that's not the last we're going to talk about this, but probably not anymore on this stream.
No.
We're going to keep it happy and light. But stay tuned to the roundtable next week. I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So here we see the bald guy with the hairy chest.
So this is the what becomes the mentor character for Mark Singer's character Dar. So the mentor character who raises him and rescues him for a start. So here we see the brand. So I was watching this earlier and thinking, why do they always have these brands all the time? But in those ancient times, there was often sort of like identifying marks for royalty. They would always, I don't know what that weapon is. He's just thrown there. Some sort
Glaive, brother. It's a
Oh yeah,
it's a
okay, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that the only similarity with this is like the mark of Cain, that kind of thing. So he's just thrown this glavy thing in her back, and she's done a Obi-Wan Kenobi there. Oh, nice legs. Hello. Yikes.
She's got latex breasts on too.
Yeah.
Foul. Probably a man dressed up that way. Is he some sort of warrior? Why is he walking around with a sword? He's like a peasant.
Well, this is the thing. Nobody can afford any armor in this film.
You put all their money in bladed weapons.
It's
like Danny go stabbing her.
Look, we're in the fire. There we go. And
she found it funny. I wouldn't find it very funny if I was thrown into a fire.
I think, similarly to Conan, the same thing happens where the witch gets thrown in the fire, and they, drift off cackling. So it must be a normal thing that happens. So here's the child that he raises his own son. So this is Dar.
That's very nice. What a good guy.
He is. He's a good guy. He just happened to be passing at that moment. And this is his village here. And I don't know whether the writers of this film had any access to what was going on with Conan at the same time, but there's a lot of similarities between the two films.
The village is strange. I'm wondering why it's up on stilts like that.
Yeah.
It's not near. Is it on a floodplain of some sort? Is there a big river nearby?
No, there's no water anywhere near.
It could be a defensive thing, but maybe they're subject to nomadic raiders or something.
Maybe it's like what was that movie with the giant worms?
Oh, Dune?
Tremors.
Oh, Tremors.
Maybe they've got like giant worms there. So here we go.
Is like Dune if you like made it in the American West.
Yeah.
and made
exactly.
it not about doing it all.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
So
So here's our training montage, right?
Yeah. So this is where he almost kills.
I'm going to play a joke on you. I'm going to almost take off your head with my throwy thing.
And here we see, so it's a montage here. We've moved on. The child's about 10 or 11 now, and he's already starting to display his ability to sense animals. He has a connection with animals.
Uh-oh. That's not good. That's not good. Into the mauled in the bushes by an unseen beast.
Eric,
oh, it's a bear. Oh,
and
brutal. They put blood all over its maw and everything.
Yeah, and this is a bit where Dar shows that he's able to control animals. Now,
so a lot of the bears that were played in some of these 80s movies are all the same exact grizzly bear. I saw a thing on this on TV ages ago. This guy, I think he was in Alaska or something, trains these grizzly bears for these movies. I can't imagine how intense that's got to be.
Yeah. Well, this is, by the way, that's Ben Hammer, the actor on the left, who plays Dar's father. Or rather, adoptive father, I should say. I don't think we actually find out what his name is in the movie. No, it doesn't say. He actually doesn't have a name, his character, in any of the information I got. It just says Dar's father. So,
well, that's a disservice to Dar's father.
Yeah. Just on the topic of animals, there's a tiger later on in the movie, and it's painted black. So there's an interesting story about that, but we'll wait until we see the tiger. We'll talk about
that. What a nice guy.
So anyway, so this just shows you that he's now aware that
there's something else going on, huh?
Yeah.
Now he finally connected the brand to the power somehow.
Mm-hmm. He's recognized that this boy is special. So we're getting an inkling of the hero's journey. This is the adolescent young boy who's destined for great things. And he has the fully grown Maax singer.
Kroger Conan.
Yeah. Look at that. That hut is literally shaking like a leaf on those poles.
Hope they're not subject to high winds and not on that nice plateau they live on.
Yeah. Now this is where you see, this is the land, this is the age of myth, magic, and inadequate clothing.
All right, hold on. One thing, Pete, I don't mean to interrupt you, buddy, but that gate, there's no gate. They went to all the trouble to put up a palisade, but they didn't put a gate on the
door. Exactly.
So useless.
And that proves to be a disaster in about 5 minutes. But, and there must be no winter here ever.
Well, look at that. There's a solar cross above it, above the thing, so there's a little bit of symbolism.
Yeah. And here they are with presumably working the land, but there's no crops there.
They're raking the weeds, basically.
Yeah.
Or raking the grass on the steps.
Most of this is filmed in California. With the exception of, I think, Wyoming for one scene, but most of it was in California. So again,
it looks like California. It come summertime, everything, all the hills look piss yellow, just like this right here.
Yeah.
So that's right.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think it was all fairly, as low budget as we can get for locations. This is the Jun.
The oh shit moment.
Yep. And these are like the barbarian horde. This is again like a Mongol reference,
So like almost like it's the reason they built the palisade around their village. This roving band of marauders.
Yeah, but no gate. no gate at all. Now, this is the baddie leader of the Jinn, and you can tell he's the nasty one because he's got two huge bat wings on his helmet, and
Shit on his helmet.
which are completely impractical, and he's got skulls on a pole, so that should convince you.
So the helmet thing in the European cultures, the only ones that really did that sort of thing with like wings and horns and shit on their helmets were like Gauls. So it kind of has a Gallic look to it. It's not a Viking thing at all. They never did that shit. Their weapons, they kind of have Eastern style blades to their weapons, almost like tulwars with long hilts. Pretty cool.
I think it also doubles as a flail. There we go. He's straight down.
That's pretty much what would happen if someone that lightly armed encountered cavalry. You get run over.
Yep. Hail Mickey Mouse loves Marius.
Oh, we got Hail Mickey Mouse. We got a little blue dolphin there. And that guy's using almost like a bastard sword from horseback, which could be done.
There's those really shaky, pointless
practicality of your house is on 20-foot high logs, basically.
Yeah. Now, this is like, very similar to the beginning of Conan, except obviously we're already 20 minutes into the movie. This happens to Conan when he's a child. The village gets destroyed by roaming barbarians when his father and mother gets killed at the beginning of the movie. But you made the point that the character of that Rip Torn's playing is this version of the character from Conan, played by James Earl Jones.
Right, Kroger Thulsa Doom.
Yeah. Now, and again, like Thulsa Doom, he turns up at this point when the village is being destroyed. So I'm not sure whether the writers of this movie had some sort of brush with the writers of Conan. That sword there, is that from any particular period? Is it?
Well, obviously, with all these movies, they do like a fantasy thing with the hilts and stuff to make them all look different. But I mean, it's basically not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really blame them because it's a fantasy movie, so I don't hold that too much against them.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty consistent shape. It would do the job that it's supposed to do, which is trap the other guy's blade or deflect it. So, other than it being like probably a little too heavy and made out of impractical materials like brass, it's good. Mounted crossbowmen were a thing in the Renaissance period and 100 Years' War period. It's still not a very practical way to shoot a crossbow.
Yeah.
But it was a thing that did happen. Typically, they would ride horses or mules out to the battlefield to dismount. Fight. So here we go.
So here comes the big baddie. So this is the sort of high priest character of Maax, played by Rip Torn, and this is sort of illustrating the fact that Mark Singer's character Dar is right below him with the mark visible on his hand, and yet he doesn't see that. It just sort of shows you that again the hero is protected from disasters, and his loyal pooch here dragging him away with a crossbow bolt stuck in its side. That is a beautiful dog, though, I've got to say. It's I don't know whether it's some sort of husky breed or something, but it's
it looks like a German Shepherd breed, possibly. It's probably a mix of some sort.
Yeah.
But he was able to get out of the village. And he paid for his life by saving his masters. That's loyalty. Bravery and courage. The dog is a danger hero, and he should be respected.
Exactly. And that shows, again, the connection he has with animals. Now he's starting a bit more of the hero's journey. His powers are starting to be revealed to him. He's seeing through the eyes of the eagle.
Do you think the power were triggered by the trauma?
It could be, that it's gradually being unlocked, isn't it? Bit by bit. And each time something traumatic happens, it sort of unlocks more of his power.
So there he sees his dog is dead. Now he's going to go John Wick on the world.
Yeah. And
rightfully so. Touch my
exactly.
dog, I do the same thing.
Exactly.
Get an
Now,
eagle, tiger, and whoop some ass.
yeah, this this scene here with the village. It's all I don't know what the time scale is here, but everything's green now. It was yellow before. They
Yeah,
must have
it
built
can't be
these.
the fire is still smoldering, so it can't be more than a few days.
Yeah. So this is basically where it's gathers up everybody who's dead in the village, and
Oh, they impaled them all on spikes. That's horrifying.
yeah,
Those bastards.
they're clearly barbarians.
Kidding.
Yeah, it's I suppose for the day as well, because that kind of stuff wouldn't have been common in movies of the day. The the other thing about this is as well is that for the budget they had to obviously make things as effective as possible. So they've obviously gone for like maximum impact by doing that. Um, so like a lot of heroes' journeys, this is the point of no return, isn't it, Carl? This is everything's destroyed. The hero's lost everything he had. He has to move on.
This is where he's got to make his decision to, basically move on with or begin his quest to seek his revenge or whatnot.
Mhm. That's
And
a
here we
very
go.
well drugged dog, by the way.
Right.
Oh, I was watching this earlier with my wife, and she said, "Wouldn't it be funny if the dog just woke up at that point?" And he rests the dog on his, adopted father's.
It looks like the costuming department took a bunch of ponchos from a old western set in Mexico or something.
Yeah, I mean the costumes, the wardrobe, and this is just borrowed from everywhere. It's really it could be you could be watching any sort of Western film. Interestingly enough, I was reading the original plot outline, well, the original story for this was written by someone called Andre Norton, and the writers changed the story completely. The original hero was named Hostine Storm, and this is quite an interesting idea. It was a Navajo fighter in a futuristic science fiction setting. So it was the idea of post-apocalyptic America.
Yeah, it's almost like a Mad Max kind
Yeah,
of thing.
so like a Mad Max idea. Now I'm just wondering imagine what it would have been like if they'd done it that way instead. So the writer was really
I'm
unhappy
not
with
gonna
what they
lie, I
did.
kind of like his look he's got going on here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No, that's fine.
but yeah, he's got the kind of the Roman belt on, the Roman cingulum, which was
Yeah.
a thing worn by Roman legionnaires, sort of to make noise, intimidate the enemy, and kind of like I don't know what the real
Intimidate
purpose
them.
of it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Oh, there you
There's
go.
that symbol. So he's laid everybody out in that and cremated them in that symbol there.
What do you think that's supposed to be? You
I'm
think
not
it's so?
sure. Possibly it's a version of the sun or something. The the scenes here were filmed by I believe helicopter, which is you're supposed to believe this is the eagle.
Right. Yeah, I can see why this would have fit for a Navajo guy in the
Yeah,
future. This landscape right here.
definitely. Now here's a hero. He's gone through this pain. He's lost everything. Now he's training, which is something that you don't have to do if you're a Star Wars hero these days. You
Right.
don't have to do any training.
I got to say, Mark Singer's in good shape. He's probably sitting on like 2% body fat right there. He's looking good.
Oh yeah, he's trim.
He's obviously not as ripped as Arnold is, but he's
No,
still close
yeah.
versus Conan. But I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
obviously Conan would whoop his ass in a heartbeat. But
yeah.
he's looking pretty good. I got to
Oh
admit.
yeah. And this is
And
where he learns to talk to the animals. So, in a sense, you could say that Beastmaster is a cross between Conan and Doctor Dolittle.
I think I would have liked this movie more if Rex Harrison was playing Drac or whatever his name is, Dar.
Yeah,
Dar.
Rex Harrison running around with like a leather toga on or whatever. And this is a bit with a sword. Now, this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Any comparison? It looks like a
It's got some
one-sided.
Chinese-looking elements on the hilt and everything. As far as the blade shape goes, it's almost like a cross between a shamshir or a talwar or even like a nodachi.
Yeah,
a Japanese nodachi. It's kind of got the grip length of a nodachi, but not. No, it doesn't actually. The proportions are a little bit off. Maybe a larger katana style.
Yeah.
Grip, but yeah, the blade itself is it almost, because of the thickness of the blade, it kind of gets thicker towards the tip. It almost has like an Indian look to it.
Yeah, because I was thought it's a bit like a katana, but also it's a bit thicker at the end, so a bit like a falchion, but not quite. It's looks sort of like a katana, but yeah, I'll take your word for it, Carl, because you know a lot more about this than I do. So,
and I also added a clip point on the end, which is that little notch on the end that kind of gives it that Bowie knife kind of tip. So that's an element you wouldn't have seen on necessarily some of these swords, but it has. I have actually seen sabers from the 1800s, like cavalry sabers that kind of have that wide blade with the curve and the clip point on there. So it kind of has that kind of look to it, but it ends up being longer and to be used with two hands preferably. And here we see the little ferret stealing his single.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, these are the mischievous characters in the movie. I suppose interestingly as well in this film, you've got the standard trope of the two fools. So instead of it being in some movies, in the original sort of model for a lot of these, the Hidden Fortress by Kurosawa, you had the two fools. George Lucas changed that into droids, or did you C-3PO? And in this movie, the two fools are played by two ferrets. So this
we got to do the Hidden Fortress sometime, just because of at least because it's such a different character for Toshiro Mifune actually portraying. You know?
Yeah, definitely. It's
and of course we have the obligatory quicksand scene.
Yeah, actually that's a whole new topic of its own, isn't it? How many films have got quicksand in?
Quicksand is so much more common than I would ever have thought.
Yeah,
in all these diverse places, especially this desert.
Yeah, just some quicksand
moisture.
Now, this is where they tear the branch down for him, but it somehow doesn't break when he pulls on it. And then the little ferret gets... It's quite a while before he decides to rescue this ferret. But yeah, these two characters... I mean, again, you know, when we watched Willow, these two characters were played by the... called brownies, weren't they? The tiny fairy characters.
Yeah.
And Willow carried them around in his pouch. So I think maybe Willow copied the idea from this movie. So maybe there were some takeaways from this movie that other people used.
It's interesting that we've been seeing all these same exact formulas throughout all these movies. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, you know, unless you want to be completely original, I think a lot of these movies, the writers and the producers are going to be watching what came before and maybe, you know,
the old "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" model.
Yeah. So there you go. So he's now got his more animal helpers, and this is where he meets the third of his animal helpers, the black tiger.
Now, if you ever encounter this guy in the wild, you do not want to stay in his camp, because I can only imagine the amount of scat that would be around that.
Yeah. So
they didn't do anything. That eagle actually is a black eagle, correct? They didn't paint its feathers or anything.
Now, the tiger here, it was originally supposed to be a panther in this movie, I believe, but the reason that they went with a tiger was because tigers apparently are a lot easier to handle. a lot easier to train, a lot more well behaved. So they went with the tiger, but because they wanted to look like a panther, they basically painted it black. Now there is some information here that I don't know whether this is true or not, but apparently, from what I've heard, the tiger got a rare skin disease, died 2 years later, which is shocking. If that was the result of painting it black, because if you look at the tiger as well, the face isn't painted,
Right.
around its mouth and that.
And anyone who knows anything about tigers and jaguars and panthers can tell that's certainly a tiger. And
Yeah.
let's hope that it wasn't.
So
as a
why
result
did
of
they
it
have to paint it black?
done.
Why not just let the tiger be a tiger?
I think it would have been just as cool as a tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, would any of us known the difference? Honestly, not
so
at all.
There's the glaive / boomerang, whatever.
It's so jarring every time he speaks to that bird.
Yeah,
it's so jarring.
That's it. I don't know whether he's actually doing that noise or whether they've just dubbed that in. Now, this guy with a helmet on. This is just like the prop department had this thing hanging around. Do you want to just put this 30th century pot helmet on here?
Right. Right. Well, he's the only one I've seen in actual armor in this whole movie.
It's totally. That's the only piece of actual armor, and it's completely anachronistic.
Right.
And as you can see, nobody wears any armor really.
You would think they would develop something in a society where everyone's running around with swords and stuff, some way to stop that.
Exactly. Now, this is a bit where Dar just lets the tiger kill the guy who was
taking sick pleasure in watching a man get mauled by.
And it's when he walks away and he just nods to himself like, "Yeah."
I never noticed that
before.
Sicko.
So, but it's okay because these are the nasty barbarians, so they deserve what they get, apparently.
So one thing about the armor, if you study the armor and weaponry throughout the ages, as weapons develop, people develop armor to counteract the weapons, and then by turn, the weapons developers develop weapons to defeat the armor that's been developed to defeat the other weapons. So I mean, they should have something in this society. Maybe it's just too hot or something for them to be running around in too much clothing. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of environmental factor involved, but it makes no logical sense why no one would have anything.
Yeah. Well, it never really gets that cold in California unless you're up in the hills. Oh, right. Okay. This is the scene.
Blue Dolphin.
This is the Blue Dolphin scene. Okay. This is the Tanya.
Close your eyes. Sorry if there's children in the audience. I don't think there are, but
it's
there
time to send the kids to bed. Hello.
It's on YouTube, so I mean, if YouTube doesn't have a problem with it, how can we have a problem with it? And I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. All right.
This is Tanya Roberts, who went on to be in. I remember her most famously. She played Stacey Sutton in A View to a Kill. James Bond, A View to a Kill.
So she was a Bond girl.
She was a Bond girl.
So I have a funny story about A View to a Kill specifically.
And she's still a really attractive woman now, even though
she held together, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is it. So this is where Beastmaster is just basically Perv Master.
I mean, that's ACV territory.
This is an example of toxic masculinity, Carl.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, she is. I do recognize her. She is a Bond girl. You're so right. So about A View to a Kill, a good portion of that film was actually filmed in San Francisco, if you recall.
Yeah.
And at one point they burned down City Hall, and so 1984, 85. My dad was when he was a San Francisco firefighter at the time, and so he was actually involved in the filming of that movie.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. They had to have him on. They had to have guys on set because they were doing that playing with all the fire with the high rise and City Hall stuff.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, Tanya Roberts. You can see why she's a Bond girl. Incredibly attractive woman. So, but this is.
Oh, he's already creeping on her.
Oh yeah, that's it. And now he goes in for the. There you go. that would be like a sackable offense now. But
It
she
kind of
does
looks like
like take advantage
Vic
back
to
because
me.
apparently she's skilled herself.
That was probably off color.
Yeah.
He does look like Vic though.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
they find out
that's an
these
odd thing
two.
to do. You haven't said one word to her, and you go up to her and lay one on her like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Oh,
okay, this is
falling on her.
Blue Dolphin territory.
Problematic. Mr. Mac, this is problematic.
Yeah, it is very problematic. They whip you like a beast. I'm a slave. So there's a bit of an S&M thing in this movie, I have to say,
Oh my
with
god.
the like, the leather and all that kind of thing. So I don't know where the director was going with all of that. I don't know whether there was like
I don't know where he was going with
a kind of
that.
sort of slant.
That was pretty suggestive, that pose they were in.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yep. The other actress who was picked to play this character was Demi Moore. And apparently the director was quite upset that she wasn't chosen for the role, but one of the producers of the movie, one of the studio directors, it was insistent that they picked Tanya instead.
Yeah, I wonder why.
But I think it works because the two of them got a really good chemistry together. The way that they react to each other.
Yeah, I can't say much for her acting. That was pretty bad right there.
The acting throughout this film is pretty standard.
Mark Singer's been pretty good, but hers was a little bit. It seemed a little forced to me. But she's a visual treat, so I'm gonna let it go.
She is. She's exactly the same in A View to a Kill, but as you say, she definitely has a screen presence. So now it's gone dark very quickly. And this is the scene where we have the light bulb tree.
Oh man, this scene, dude! When I was a kid, this scene creeped me the f out.
Yeah, this freaked me out as well.
These guys are just so bizarre looking. I mean, whoever came up with this was a fucking hippie and was on drugs.
Yeah.
Dude. This is so strange.
So we see that this is like, I'm not going to say this, but that's a very sort of like not very nice looking eagle symbol.
As you would say back in the UK, it's very rude looking.
Yeah.
It looks like a nutsack hanging from a tree, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, you could call this the luminous testicle tree if you want to. Or scrotum tree, that's it, the scrotum tree.
That eagle symbol is so strange looking. It almost looks like German eagle symbolism from the 30s.
It is very ominous. So a bit like Conan, you've got this cauldron, which you find out is like, it's not chicken in there, basically.
All the yummy bits. Is it green as well? Let's see.
No, I don't think it's green. It's like a purpley color, but there's no hands in there, but there's something else about to come out. And there we go.
I mean, seriously, if you're going to cook a human being, why not pull the hair off of it first?
Yeah, there they are. Now, yeah, these are fairly freaky.
This is the part that freaks me out with this kid in the cage, man.
Yeah. It's that he lets him go just for him to basically get killed. I don't know what the significance of it being a giant tree is as well, but these creatures are like avian, aren't they? Like bird-like, and they worship a bird god. So they're like, this is where they are. So now, this is how they eat their food, digesting.
Off and like, hey, you didn't save any for me.
Oh, fantastic!
The last piece of George.
It's a sound effect as well. You can hear it being digested.
The goo streaming out is just the worst.
And it's just like bones left. So I don't know. They're like a bit like gastro bats.
Yeah.
Digest.
They must have like suckers in their stomachs or something. It's just strange.
It is so freaky. The fact that, they're just going to digest anything. Now,
hoods on.
Yeah. I can't find a name for what they're actually called.
I'd seen something that said eagle men. It was like in the Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
It said eagle men. So whatever. And they see the eagle and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're cool. That's our god."
Yeah, this is what convinces them that.
Dude, that black eagle statue looks. Yeah.
So yeah, the eagle's sitting on top of something that looks like it came from 1940s Berlin.
It does. It looks like it's. Dude, I bet there's a prop from an old war movie or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm pretty sure that came from some sort of war movie.
It looks like it should be in the bunker at the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. So here we go. Oh, and there's this medallion.
The medallion.
You're part of our fan club now.
No, you're cool. You're cool.
Come back anytime.
He just gave you so you still have your sword pointed at him. He just gave you the medallion. Don't you think if he wanted to kill you, he would have done it already?
Yeah.
Or tried at least. One thing I do kind of like about his sword is that it does have a knuckle guard on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bad effects right there. Bad blue screen, as Aldous would say.
Yeah.
But a lot of films kind of neglect that. You'd probably want to have a knuckle guard on your, especially if you're designing a sword out of nowhere for like fantasy stuff. So I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah. Right. So now
he's got vermin crawling all over him.
Yeah. It's covered in scat. And there's the eagle emblem.
Almost looks like a symbol of shield, doesn't it?
Yeah, which I always thought was a bit strange. Now, an interesting sort of the idea of three again here, because I think he mentions it, or he might have not. I've already mentioned it, that he's the eagle is like represents his sight, his wisdom. The ferrets represent his cunning.
Oh, they each represent an aspect.
The tiger for his strength. So it's like the tripart being a game.
Yeah. His strength and ferocity. I get it.
So
already this is not a very welcoming place. As you can see, miles upon miles of impaled skeletons. Yeah,
that took a long time, I would imagine, to kill that many people and have their remains hanging like that. But this is he's going back to the place he was born. This is the city that he originally came from, obviously now taken over by the evil high priest Maax. So this is the kingdom of Aruk. King Zed has been imprisoned for years, so it's now being ruled by Maax.
And they have some weird bull cult or something, huh?
Yeah, it's a death cult they've got.
Boiling mud in the moat.
Yeah, this tower is to keep people from escaping. So there's only one way in or out over the bridge there.
That's sound defensive policy, I would say. There's no trees up around the city as well, which is good. You'd want to clear away the land so people couldn't sneak up on your castle.
Yeah, but as we've seen
this thing, that's good. An actual portcullis. Bravo! Someone thought about defense.
Yeah, for a change, which is ironic because this city, this town is, the guy who rules this, Maax, is in league with the barbarian horde anyway. So it's not like as long as he's in control, it's not like that's gonna
kind of like a mafia boss controlling little street gangs.
Yeah, and this is just like a pueblo, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. You can tell it's filmed in California. Look at the hills.
Yeah, but the building style and everything, it's just like you could be in a Western.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It almost looks, yeah.
And of course, this is the most disturbing scene in the whole film. The child's gonna get killed. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, into the fire.
Into the fire.
That goes back to ancient Phoenician child sacrifice, throwing them in fires and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, I thought I took it as well as quite topical as well because of what's happening right now in places like New York.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
are we getting back to that kind of?
And
Well,
these guys look like they're extras
not
from a live
overtly, but yeah.
Right. No, I get you. These
Um,
guys look like extras from a live action version of The Last Airbender.
yeah. There's very little costume design. The only really good costume design is actually Maax, the bad guy. And so this is the bit where he's going to sacrifice another kid, but the eagle comes to the rescue. Now,
Right.
I don't want to sound all Monty Python, but the power to weight ratio of the Black Eagle
Right.
couldn't carry like a what is it like a
Oh, man.
70-80 pound child.
What an awful shithead this guy is.
Yeah, he's definitely not pro-life, that's for sure.
Demonic human being.
Yeah.
They did a good job making him look creepy as hell, though, with those dark circles around his eyes and everything.
Yeah, it sort of
Really
make him
looks like
look really pale.
a,
This, so I think it's all over at this point. But the eagle comes to save the day. He's going to push him in as well with a stick. Look at that, pushing him in.
like he's the kid in A Christmas Story going down that slide.
There we go. Now you're going to see some really bad chroma key here.
It looks like a puppet on a wire carrying another puppet.
Yeah, look at this in the sky. This is now the guy's thinking, how do I explain this one? I do like the skull pigtails though. Nice touch.
Yeah, that.
There you go. Look how bad that is.
I mean, what else are you gonna have to really hone the point home that this guy's a dick? He throws kids in the fireplace or into a raging fire as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And sacks towns for the hell of it. Now we've got to throw skulls in his hair just to really hammer that point home.
Yeah. So he's using the ferret to find out where the parents live because he's rescued the child. He's going to bring the child back to.
So you're seeing through the eyes of the ferret.
Nice. Yeah. So while that's happening, I'll quickly explain that this film, like I say, it cost about $9 million, but it raised. I think it only made about $3 million at the box office. So most of its money was actually made through, cleverly made through cable TV. They made a deal. I think the producers or director made a deal through cable TV rights. And,
Turner and everything, man. I remember in the late '80s, early '90s, it was on TV every weekend. It seemed like on TBS and TNT.
Yeah, the HBO channel as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Which I think HBO became known to stand for, hey, Beastmaster's on. So that was the
Beastmaster, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's found the father, and he's got the kid in the sack.
Yeah.
And he gave him back. It was nice of the kid to keep quiet while he's being trudged around town in a sack.
Yeah, and so this is where the kid's father explains the changes that have taken place in the city since since Dar has
gives them the exposition on what's been going on.
Yeah.
And at this point, they don't know that he's really the son of the king.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the exposition. There's another section later in the movie which is a bit strange as well, which we'll come to in good time. But
you know what I'm thinking is really strange. As he walked into this town, I didn't see any agriculture, any fields, any animals in the fields, any crops or anything. How are they supporting their city here?
Yeah, there's a Costco around the corner.
Costco around the corner. Well, it is Kroger's Conan, so
yeah. That's a good point. I mean, there's really the budget is so slim on this movie that there's not much finance to have any kind of significant world building at all. So you really don't get to see a wider world at all in this. Which at least
No.
things like films like Willow, you get that sense of a wider world.
Right, and at least in Willow, the Elwyn village, there was agriculture going on, and people were there were animals going around and things like that. So they must have spent all their animal budget on tigers and eagles. So I'll let them off. But just as a note, in a normal, setting, you would have all kinds of farms surrounding these cities and stuff because you have to support the population. Now we've come to this tree where we found fresh water.
Yeah, this is. I mean, we're getting to the halfway point in the movie. The hero has been joined by animal versions of allies. He's aware of the changes that have taken place. He's sort of got a quest in as much as he knows that the city's now ruled by an evil leader. But as yet, there's nothing definite. Yeah, this is where Maax, the evil priest, has now identified the hero. So they're both the hero and the villain, and now are fully aware of each other.
Now his evil monk priest guys have come to capture him because he's got to sacrifice him, right? Is that the prophecy?
That's right. Yeah, he has to. Actually, no, he's just telling them to kill him there. But they're about to, that guy above him there looks like the actor from Rocky Horror.
Richard O'Brien.
That's it. Yeah.
It does kind of look like him.
Yeah, Richard O'Brien's cousin.
So now the other guy's getting chased down by the tiger.
Every time Mark Singer's character sees through the eye of an animal, it looks like he's basically on the job. Like, looks like he's got to that happy place where
either that or he's into his 6th or 7th pint.
Yeah. Right. So the tiger's been led into a trap.
Very
so
convenient.
Now the guy's going to dispatch it with this crossbow.
Well, it's good to dig random tiger pits in the forest just in case you get chased by a tiger.
Yeah, there's no explanation about any of this at all. So now we've met John Amos finally here.
Oh, maybe he dug it to trap these guys.
Trap them, yeah.
So this guy didn't know he was going to get the tiger in the pit. So I kind of get like a Little John vibe out of John Amos out of this because he's got his staff and he's in the forest and stuff. Kind of like a Robin Hood and his Merry Men vibe.
And this is Dar's younger brother, Tal. See that little trick there with the quarter steps?
That was cute.
But I don't know how Dar has a brother. I mean, King Zed must have married again and had another kid for that to happen.
Right.
Because, the queen dies in the first scene, yeah. So this is where, he tries to rescue the tiger from the pit and they start to get to know each other. The first sort of real human ally. So the hero's building his party still now.
Right.
I think this is about it. So we get to this part about halfway through the movie, and by halfway through, we've got the whole party together.
Get out of my way.
I mean, John Amos, he's been in quite a lot of different things. He was in Coming to America. You said he was in Roots, wasn't he? He's in the...
he played Adult Kunta Kinte.
Yeah, that's it. So he's been in a lot of different stuff. He's quite a good actor. I would say probably on balance, in my opinion, apart from Rip Torn, who's, a decent enough actor. I'd say Amos is probably.
Yeah, he's the luminary in this movie
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
is really compared to everybody else.
Right. I agree. I mean, Rip Torn's one of those guys, you hear of him, but who's ever really seen what he's been in other than like
Men in
Men in
Black.
Black?
Yeah, and
Or
I don't
making
know.
comedy.
Yeah, the lad who's playing Tal there. I don't know what else he was in. I don't recognize him from anything else. Joshua Milrad, I think his name is.
Hmm.
So this is the typical exchange of information between the hero and his
Right.
allies, where again he's getting more information about what's happening and how they're going to defeat the enemy. So it's all very basic story building. It's there's nothing complicated about any of this.
No, I don't think it's meant to be. I think it's just meant to cash in on the, you know, post Excalibur craze of
Yeah,
sword and sorcery,
yeah.
which is fine because for what it is, you know, you're not expecting much, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, it came out the same year as Conan, so it's people are always going to make comparisons between this and the Conan movie, um, and there are a lot of similarities. But
Yeah, there's a lot of surface similarities, but I mean, comparing this to Conan is like comparing an opera to like a
a
current
jing,
year pop video.
yeah, a radio jingle.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, but yeah, um, the main thing about this movie though is that it shows that in that time it was still possible to produce a fighting fantasy movie on a very limited budget and still manage to hit the basics. Because there were a lot of other films in that time scale which have completely vanished you know uh, into into the past. Nobody
Right.
knows anything about them. I
Right.
watched well, I've on the research I did. There's a few films from the same year which aren't available at all to watch now. So this film at least has survived.
Yeah, I think it was a part of a lot of people's childhood just because it was on so much, you know.
Mm.
Do you get kind of like a He-Man vibe out of
I do,
Gotham?
yeah. That's one of the things I noticed. That it's very much like He-Man,
Yeah,
and
it's this weird kind of like thing he's got going on, and then he's got the blonde hair and the bare chest. The whole yeah, because He-Man was what 83 it came out, so it could be
mm, a bit
some of the
later than that, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, the sequels to this movie as well were which people might not know about. There was a second and third film for this film, which were the second film was based in modern day America. Well, at the time, modern day America, um, which is a bit similar to the He-Man movie because I think the He-Man movie is set partly in their universe and partly in ours, isn't it? The everybody arrives in
Oh well, yeah, the
downtown.
He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren was 89. I
Yeah.
meant just the even the cartoon show, man.
Oh yeah. It's probably
That came
Yeah,
out in September '83,
yeah.
and
So
I
it'll
wonder
have
if they
been
took some of his look from that.
contemporary with that. Yeah.
I did like Dolph Lundgren in that role though. I think he did a good job, even though the movie was shit.
Yeah, definitely. There was some really good performances in that. I mean, we might do that sometime. Um, it was one of those films where it's always difficult to try and make a live action of a cartoon because it was as a cartoon it was so over the top. So, like for
Right.
instance, if they ever made but nowadays with CGI it would have been a lot easier. I mean, for instance, these days you could probably make like a CGI live action version of Thundercats. That would be interesting.
What about live action CGI version of like Star Blazers or something?
Yeah,
That'd be
definitely.
badass.
There's loads I could do now. So, in this scene here, again, Dara's now looking to see where where Tanya's character is, because he knows that they're going to be taken to be sacrificed. So we've got to the point where the hero now has a quest.
Oh my God, look at that shot. His chin is exactly as wide as his neck.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought that's perfect. That's like really thick neck, shoulders, and everything. He's definitely struck the pose on that one.
That's so strange.
We should get Ro watching that bit. I think Ro would definitely be interested.
Dude's got some pecs though. He's got some pecs and some abs. He's put together.
Yeah.
But now he's getting the bird's eye view.
Yeah, so now he's seeing the where they're taking the slaves because they're going to be sacrificed. So he knows where he's going to intercept them and in a sense rescue the princess. So it's that trope, you know.
Right.
Rescue the princess. The guy gets the girl type of thing. So
just as long as she doesn't happen to be his long lost twin sister.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. So, like, we already know that Tal here is the king's son, which makes him his half brother.
Oh my God! You can get Beastmaster 2 on YouTube as well if anyone wants to follow up with the saga.
Yeah,
after we're done, I might just watch it for the hell of it.
Yeah, I mean, Beastmaster 2 is it's sort of really, really, really corny, but apparently it's still worth watching. The this is I think this is Wyoming. This somewhere here, this lake or a reservoir.
Let's see. Wyoming is a beautiful state, but there's not a whole hell of a lot there.
Yeah.
Oh, good God, she's looking good.
Yeah.
She's top out of all the ones we've looked at in these movies.
Yeah, definitely. I think they went with, on a low budget, they just went with, okay, we've got a low budget. Who can we get as the most glamorous actress for this movie?
Oh, now that I think about it, though, young Helen Mirren kind of is up there.
Yeah, she is. Well, when you're talking about, you know, Excalibur, there was a lot more expenditure going on there, but there we are. Kicks him in the groin.
So she kicks him in the groin. His response is to drown her in the lake.
Yeah. Well, he's an incel.
Oh my goodness. John Stamos walked over. Hey, dipshit.
Yeah, Stamos sees to that.
Oh my God, he's not wearing much either, is he?
No, this is it. I'm just saying the whole thing's Blue Dolphin from start to finish.
Oh goodness.
And then later on, well, it just goes from one to another. Later on, we get the eventual sort of full gimp later on.
Oh boy, I can't wait. I can't wait.
And every time you see the tiger, it's got less and less of that black paint. Right, so the heroes have rescued the maiden, so to speak,
and they sent those bald bitches packing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Some Mongols, not Mongols, the...
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're yeah, sorry, they're the temple monks.
Temple monks. The mean monks.
Turned up to try and reclaim, but...
they've got a hell of a rate of fire going on. There's only, what, 4 of them? If they're going pretty...
They're extremely good at hitting the raft as well. So she just kicks those off into the lake.
That's one way to deal with it. Get the extra weight off the boat. They're very cavalier with people's lives in this film, I've got to say.
They are. It doesn't matter because these people are identified as evil, so therefore you can do what you like to them. Apparently,
Is this like 1982's version of Punch a Nazi? It's drown a monk.
yeah, that's it. Drown an evil monk is the 1980s version of that. Yeah, this I'm sure. So this isn't California. This is somewhere else. But so there you go. So now we know that Tal, her character is actually Tal's cousin. So if Tal is the Beastmaster's Dar's half brother, then this makes her his cousin
or his half cousin.
So it's kissing cousins, basically.
Well, I mean, let's face it. The Habsburgs did much worse. All right.
Yeah, a lot worse. So,
yeah, well, I guess it's got to start somewhere, though. Their relationship moves along quite quickly, I must say.
It does, yeah.
At least now she's a willing participant.
Well, overall, this film just keeps going at a relatively good pace. There's never any. One of the good things about it is it doesn't lag at any time. It just keeps
laboring the travel scenes like we saw in Krull.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, no real time climbing a mountain.
So Seth was one of the royal guards or whatever?
Yeah, he was the king's personal guard. And so he's off to rendezvous. Yeah.
Here's your chance at redemption, Seth. Get it right.
So there's the town. Now, this is obviously a model on someone's tabletop. Fancy a game of 40k?
Slim-necky temple in the center.
Yeah, well, the whole thing's literally set out right. Get the figures on there.
Right.
This is where we find out that even this guy can talk to the animals. So what makes the Beastmaster so special? He can talk eagle as well.
That is curious.
See?
Well, I mean, I talk like that to my dog, so I don't know if he's really actually communicating or just interpreting things.
Possibly. But so this is how he smuggles him into the city.
Typically, you'd want to close your gates at night.
Yeah. I don't understand how they get through this easy. They would search the wagon and things like that, so it's not really explained.
Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
Oh, he just walks right on through. Not a word spoken.
Yeah. There's the eye ring.
Go ahead.
One of the few good special effects in this movie is that eye ring. That's really well done. That because as a movie, it's sort of a mixture of, say, fantasy and horror. With
do you think they put the forethought into it to use it for symbolic reasons, or do you think they just used it because it was a good way to explain they can see what's going on?
I really don't think there's any sort of deeper meaning in this. It's all very utilitarian, isn't it? Really, it's
it's like whatever prop we could borrow from whatever set's done using it.
Yeah, and you can tell. I mean, it's
gets an A. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Good job, costuming department.
Yeah. So can you hear that sort of air draft noise in the movie?
Yeah.
And the shape of the tunnels. Now, I don't know whether it was a similar thing happening here with the production team who later worked on V, because obviously Mark Singer was in V. They had the same shaped tunnels and the same sort of air draft noises and all that kind of thing in the alien aircraft, spacecraft. So I don't know whether there was any crossover there. So we're seeing these weird light glowing eyes in the darkness there. Oh, there we go.
They got spiky hands.
Are they practical weapons, those spiky gloves?
No, but they look awesome when you go to a death metal concert.
Yeah, this is where the fetish element comes into this film. This is the spiky leather. It's
Yeah, they must have raided every bondage shop in the San
Yeah,
Fernando.
like downtown LA.
That's a really impractical way to get into your fort. You
Yeah.
basically every time you go in, you have to crawl on that chain to get across. That would suck. I would never leave
And if
there.
you make it the other end, you can pull the lever down.
Oh, that's strange. And that just goes back to some of these, um, you know, kind of movies. Very Ray Harryhausen, that kind of effect.
Yeah. It's that they're trying to build up some sort of suspense when they're in the pyramid here. I mean, it's you can see why kids like this movie, and when you saw this movie growing up, it's a decent enough movie to keep you watching.
Dude, I'd only ever seen it on TV, so
Yeah.
I would have appreciated it a lot more when I was about 12 if I'd seen it on this version.
Yeah. So they're actually called death gods. So here he is there struggling around, being strapped down to the table.
What in the hell?
This is just more S&M stuff going on here.
Just weird stuff for no reason.
And there's a
going on.
ferret. I don't even want to know what they're going to do with the ferret, basically.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and then
I wonder if, yeah.
She doesn't tell them this, but look, she's just found a secret entrance. Could you not have just told them you've got a secret entrance there?
And nice little armory right behind you. See all the swords and shields on the wall.
So these death guards have this green stuff put in them, like a leech or something, and it goes into their brain, and that sort of kills their
free will,
their brain, and makes them into a mindless robot, for want of a better word.
So brainwashing them.
Yeah. So that's his foam comes out, and then the gimp mask goes on.
Yeah, these monks are shit, bro.
It's also a requirement that a death guard wears a leather thong.
These guys are
spiky boots.
They're freaks.
It's just insane.
What a horrible place to work. I mean, the risk of death when you make these death cards.
Oh man, that is a risky.
They fear nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, not a good idea.
Almost looks like Master Blaster from.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. With the barbarians and their leather armor reminded me of Mad Max as well. I mean, you think about the original version of the story; it was supposed to be set in like a Mad Max world. So,
yeah, I wonder if they changed it because Mad Max had already come out.
That could have been why. Yeah, I don't know why they changed it, but it could have also been that the new things like Conan and other stuff was possibly.
Yeah, it would have made sense either way. Kind of play off the popularity of those other films.
It was actually pushed forward. It was supposed to be released on Christmas Day 1982, but they pushed it forwards and released it in the summer of 82. And I think that's probably because they were worried about the fact that Conan was coming out, and if they left it too late, it would just completely bomb. Well, it only made $3.5 million, so it was a bomb in a sense, but because they had the TV rights, that's what pulled it back.
Right.
Whereas Krull didn't do that at all. It was, lost a lot of money. Krull.
Oh, there we go. The tiger's proving useful once again. It's a strange underground area they have here. I mean, they've got sand on the floors.
So it's finally found King Zed.
Have a little pride in your castle, man. Clean it up a bit, especially if you have guests over. Yeah, King Zed is just sitting here, a broken man. If he's even still alive.
Yeah. This is where you I don't know what the significance of that tattoo is. It's like two snakes, isn't it? So, but, and you find out that he's been blinded as well.
Oh, horrible.
There's the gimp. There's the gimp chasing the ferrets. Yeah, the sequel to this, Beastmaster 2 Through the Portal of Time. That was in 1991. So he reprised his role 9 years later.
I'm sure he didn't have much going on at the time.
And then there was a third direct-to-video third release in 1996, Beastmaster 3, The Eye of Braxus. And then there was a TV series came out in 99, but he didn't star in that. He gave up the role after that. This is practical effects. The witch climbs up onto the ceiling. And that's actually done. That's survived the test of time, I think. So
the scene of her coming at him, though, was just strange.
See, that's really well done. That the way she's climbing up.
Yeah.
So Maax has got the young prince held captive, and the Beastmaster's he's blinded by this witch. And then he works out, if he looks through the tiger's eyes, you can see where she is, and guess what? Bang!
There you go.
Straight in there.
Right in the belly.
He turns the blade around. Oh.
And slices it out. That's a slow death.
And you're starting to find out as well that
that tiger's like the Hulk, man. He just busted down that door.
Yeah. Tanya's character there's got some ninja skills going on, so you get to find out that her character is actually like a priestess warrior type of character.
Not just a damsel in distress.
Yeah, she's not a helpless character. She's actually like a warrior. So they've rescued the king. So we've got the stage where the hero has completed almost all of his journey. And
on the wall, they got plumbing in this place.
Yeah, and I remember thinking that the last time I watched this and thinking, what's the plumbing for? It's broken plumbing as well.
It is. It is from a better time.
Well, apparently we get to find out that this pyramid, before it was ruled by this evil overlord, it had a previous function. It was a temple for a different belief system, a different era. This is the sort of Goonies stroke Indiana Jones moment. Mark's
skull, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Goonies. They've got to raise the skull to get through the gap and get out of the temple.
They couldn't go back the way they came, huh?
No. Skull's a little bit shaky there for what would be a solid boulder.
Yeah, it's probably styrofoam. Styrene, whatever.
And so the king gets out with his younger son, and it's left to Dar to try and escape here because this Gimp character's hot on their heels.
He's gonna hold the rear. He's gonna act as rear guard and let his people escape. Without regard to himself. He's a heroic guy. And I gotta tell you, when he finally lands her, he's hitting well above his batting average with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
And what
even him.
Yeah.
So it's just a case of rescuing the ferrets at this point, because this is what he's hanging around for. These characters, these monks, one of the things they do is they're like sort of the sound effects are used quite well in this movie. So they give these monks a sort of like zombie scream.
Yeah, that little scream he had.
And then the other ones, the gimps, have like a like an animal raw. So I
Right.
think even though it was a low budget movie, the least they could do is, give you some. Oh, that's what's the plumbing's for, Carl.
There you go. So it almost acts like it looks like the inside of a toilet, where like when the water goes back on the upper layers.
It's a giant toilet cistern.
Yep.
There you go. So that
Purpose.
yeah, there's the ferrets. That Death Warrior's definitely doing a good job. It's killing all the priests, the evil priests in the temple. Now, where did she come from? I mean, that skull's blocked the exit, and she just walks out from behind it.
She knows something. I wonder how she knows.
I like the obvious polystyrene walls there as well.
Right.
And you see
why
this.
Would they climb out the air shaft to begin with? Why would they fuck around for 5 minutes with that skull if they could have just climbed out the air shaft?
Yeah, apparently it's like a 100-foot drop out there through the polystyrene holes. But fortunately, at the bottom there's a soft landing.
And she's got just enough rope.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think they could have done it and been gone by now.
This is the only sort of lingering bit in the movie. This particular scene. I mean, that is pretty high up.
That is high up. We almost got a blue dolphin from the.
Yeah, you did.
he's helplessly, impotently flailing his arms about, trying to do something as opposed to cutting the rope. I was trying to cut the rope and it won't cut.
With those useless, like, sort of spiky gloves.
Then what are they so afraid of? Oh, damn.
There you are.
Ever thus to gimps.
And now they've just got to jump. And fortunately, there we go. He was there with
the nick of time.
Yeah. Perfectly timed.
Well, the people in this town must know what's up because they're all staying the hell in their houses.
Well, that way you don't have to pay for extras.
That's true.
that's why.
That's true. Now we're blocked by the portcullis. The gate doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. This is again where the ferrets come to the rescue. And this is the sort of family element of the movie because the ferrets are one of the two main characters in the film. They're the comic relief.
Right. And they're the ones that they want to build up your emotional attachment to.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. Towards the end of the film, you get more attached to the ferrets than anybody else.
This is how Hollywood emotionally manipulates the viewers.
Yeah. So there they are biting through the rope, and the guard notices them there.
I want to see that blade he's got again because that looked like a Indonesian crisp blade.
Bang! She's just used some sort of shuriken there.
Yeah, she's got shuriken.
Here come the more gimps.
3 times the gimps.
Oh dear.
You wanted it, you asked for it. Here we go. More gimps, and they're being whipped by a guy on a horse.
Yeah, that's it. And he's gonna chop the ferret's head off there.
It's monstrous.
And the other ferret, there you go. The sound effects are really good, like the sound of crunched testicle.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them. It's like the Kroger version of Terminator, isn't it? Those things. Oh, there you go. Straight into the portcullis.
Crushed by the portcullis.
Yeah. So everybody's rescued. So this is a point where they plan what they're going to do.
Is there a little meeting in the desert like they're the Fremen or something, huh?
Yeah. So the king, who has divine right to rule, and everybody has to do what he says anyway, is basically become embittered and foolish, and he's not thinking properly. But everybody has to do what he says.
Right.
And this is like the last sort of, I suppose, trial.
His whiny voice.
Mm.
It's also like a insight into the folly of giving one man ultimate power as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's another sort of tip of the hat to the obvious flaws of monarchy. But this is where the king doesn't realize that Dara's his son, his firstborn son, and he basically tells him he's a freak, which upsets Dara, and he has a single tear, and then he learns to get over it. But I suppose it's another example of how the hero will face rejection and things like that.
Right.
Because he's been rejected by his own father.
Saying, we agree with you, but we can't disobey our king.
Exactly. So this leads up to a revolution attempt where they try to overthrow Maax, but it doesn't work, and they all get captured. But we don't see that in the film. There's a single tear. Yep. But it's all right because he's gone upstairs to his bedroom and he's got his animal friends to keep him company. It doesn't matter. Dad was nasty, but I've still got my animal guys.
We've got to get a screen clip of that single tear on his face because that'd make such a great meme. Wouldn't that make a great meme?
Yeah.
From one of these crazy on Twitter or something, he's post that.
Yeah. And it's out of place, really. Johnny Five's turned up.
Is he? Hey, Johnny Five. Yeah. Welcome, brother.
So this is sort of,
and Johnny Five is moist.
Yeah, it's a bit out of place, I've got to say, because he's a grown man at this stage, but it's like an adolescent thing. The whole,
he even kind of looks like an adolescent with that long hair and his clean, short face.
Yeah,
it does, because he seems like he's not very well developed emotionally.
Yeah. He's not afraid of kissing a girl, though. So
no, he jumped right into that.
Yeah. He's not afraid of Tanya being out of his league either. So there you
go. He's got the body and stuff, but he's got a weird looking monkey face, man.
He does look weird. I always thought about watching it.
Wide as his neck.
Yeah.
None of you people are wearing shoes either. That's a strange thing in such rocky ground. She's got sandals on. Never mind.
I think the resolution. A bit of a revealing moment here for Tanya there.
Yeah.
I mean, most people in this movie wear practically nothing. Like I say, it saves on wardrobe.
This is RBCC. What is Beastmaster about, Johnny? Johnny Five asks. Beastmaster. What is it about, Pete?
It's about a story of attempted infanticide, and the hero comes back to destroy the evil ruler who tried to kill the rightful heir. So it's a hero's journey with the twist that it's a bit like a Western as well, where the hero doesn't take what's rightfully his. He sort of helps everybody else to get what they need. So it's a bit like a Western, and it's also a bit like a horror movie as well. It's got, look at that. Oh. It's horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, it's there's nothing too deep here, Johnny Five. It's mostly just a action flick
Yeah.
with sword and sorcery elements to it.
Yeah.
With a superficial story. But what it does have is it has tigers, falcons, ferrets, and a lot of TNA.
Yeah,
So
it has a high T.
it.
It has a high T woman in there, when I say high T, I mean a woman who will produce high T in the men who are around her. So
yeah, this is definitely have some ACV on hand if you are subscribing to RBCC, gentlemen.
Yes,
watching.
Yes.
So here's the next day after.
Well, yeah, this is like the day after the battle that we don't see.
Right.
And then we find out that the king's attempt to overthrow the Maax has not worked, and just by chance this guy comes along. We don't know who this man is. We don't find out what his name is. Comes along and just finds him and says, "Quick, you've got to come back into town. The plan failed."
Random guy on a horse with a horse. At least he thought ahead to bring a horse for the guy.
Yeah.
For Dar. His name is so simple, yet I cannot remember it because it's so silly.
Yeah, the names aren't particularly sort of. I think they're just sort of one syllable words if they can get away with it, like
right.
King Zed, Dar, Maax, Seth, Tal. They're all sort of,
Right. Yeah. And so that was actually our friend from town that can also speak to animals.
Yeah, he's. It must be like I don't know. Some people have the ability, some people don't. So Beastmaster's not that unique after all.
Sort of recessive gene.
So he has all of Beastmaster's friends dressed up for sacrifice.
Are these the only three that survived that battle?
No, the king's there at the top of the pyramid as well.
See, they have their special sacrificial robes on. That's nice.
Yeah.
They dressed them up, gussied them up a bit.
But of course, Tanya has to have her clothes ripped off.
They tore them off. This is purely exploitative.
Yeah, it's toxic masculinity again, you see. I like the way they've given Rip Torn's character really bad teeth.
He does. He looks like he's been. Yeah.
Looks like he's about
he's been drinking coffee, tobacco, not brushing teeth.
He's drinking coffee for his whole life. Either that or he's wearing George Washington's teeth.
Right.
Even the temple guards don't have any armor. They've just got like this something that looks like you use for like you said, like sparring practice. Yeah. And then there you are. John Amos is stripped off there to show his.
I'll give him this much, right? John Amos has chainmail in the most important spot, right over his crotch.
Yeah, the crown jewels.
Yeah, they have no armor to speak of. Those helmets, they wouldn't really do much. They'd stop a sword cut from above, maybe.
Yeah, they're not going to stop a tiger.
No.
This is a bit where Rip Torn takes forever to kill.
Are they doing it differently now? I mean, I thought they're just chucking people in fires.
Yeah, he wants to kill her with a dagger, but he keeps stopping it all the time. It's like, how long does it take Dar to get up there, the Beastmaster?
Where he's doing the incantation, right? And then someone interrupts. It's like when you're counting a number and someone else starts.
Yeah, he's got to start from the beginning.
Now the witch is talking to him. He's got to stop again. The witch stops to tell him a joke.
And now he's got to the top of the thing. So.
And I'll have my guards fight him one-on-one so they can't overwhelm their numerical superiority.
Yeah, exactly. So, and now they're not practical, those robes, I've got to say. Not from a fighting perspective.
No, they kind of do look like, the surcoat a knight would have worn
They
over his
are.
armor. And I mean, some of those could get pretty long depending upon the time period.
Yeah. So the king finally learns just before the point of his death that the Beastmaster is actually his son that he thought we would never meet again.
Realizes what a dick he's been.
Yeah. And now King Zed dispatched.
It looks like he just cut him in the chest. That's not a nice thing to do. Now the struggle over the knife.
Yeah, and this is the bit where finally manages to stab him.
Thumb in the eyeball.
This is the weird bit because you would throw him in the fire as well, wouldn't you?
Oh hell yeah!
Just to make sure, but he just leaves him there. He's not dead, or maybe. And then the witch starts using her magic to sort of bring him back to life.
Oh yeah. I'd have chucked him in the fire. That would have been me.
And this is the wackiest bit of all. He kills the witch, but the witch turns into a dove. As you do.
As you do.
There's Loincloth Boy.
Yeah. He's holding his own against these grown men.
Yeah.
10-year-old boy is doing pretty good against
Quarterstaff Man and Loincloth Boy.
Yeah, I would say that the Kroger's Little John and Will Scarlet right there.
Yeah, definitely. So he's rescued the girl, but Maax isn't dead. He's going to come back and try and kill him again.
A wound like that wouldn't kill you right away, anyways. If you're all hyped up on adrenaline, you could fight for a pretty good amount of time after getting stabbed in the lower intestine.
Yeah,
you probably accept faster than you would bleeding to death.
Yeah. Now, to prove this movie is actually about ferrets, watch this. Go. Right? So the ferret actually is the one that attacks Maax. Maax falls into the fire with the ferret. Right? So the ferret dies bravely, and the other ferret is like, oh no, I've lost my ferret husband.
They manipulate our feelings.
Oh, where's he gone? Oh, the pain. Mrs. Ferret's so upset.
Emotional manipulation.
Yeah, the prophecy was complete crap. Because the prophecy said, you will die by the hand of an unborn child of the king. No, you won't. You'll die by the bite of a ferret.
How do you know he's not the child of the ferret king?
So the ferret is actually one of the king's sons.
Well, not this king, but the king of the ferrets. For sure.
So all of this could have been avoided because it was never the Beastmaster to start with. It was the ferret that was going to kill Maax.
Right.
That's what the prophecy. So it was a false prophecy.
That's very big tragedy of this film.
So here come the djinn. He's just wiped his nose with that ferret. Here come the Jun or whatever, the barbarians.
Sometimes after a nice battle, you got to get that booger after your nose with a ferret.
It's bad. So the barbarians are coming. So here we go. Pull the bridge off the, and it's useful because the bridge isn't actually a bridge; it's just a ramp.
Yeah, it's really
that was a lot cheaper to buy a ramp than actually make a bridge.
So the pesky things like structural integrity and piling down to bed.
Exactly. Yeah, let's write that into the story because we can't afford to build an actual bridge. So
yeah,
they're Shire horses. Those, I don't know where they came from. They must have been in a local farm. Okay, so
now he's contemplating his life. Now he's accomplished what he set out to do. What's he to do with himself, right? And he lost his little buddy.
This is it. Now, the pacing in this movie is fairly straightforward, but this is the bit where it just gets a bit weird because everything's actually finished. He's beaten the bad guy, so the movie should be finished, but it's not because he's now got to defeat the barbarians who are on their way. So this is the only major criticism for the movie, which is, you take what you get, but it's the ending is a bit,
wonky.
fragmented. Yeah, yeah.
What's the significance of him handing the
The
medallion
medallion. Yeah,
and
that's
how to do that? That's just
yeah,
strange.
yeah. It's he's asking for the help of those
The eagle guy.
eagle men. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So they know the enemy's coming, and they have not closed the gates.
yeah.
And
This is
so
a
these guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. It's tried and tested trope with the the hordes attacking the town or the settlement.
Yeah, it kind of has a 13th Warrior feel to it, doesn't it?
Mm. And there's the baddie who could just as well be in Mad Max with that like leather armor and the
Absolutely.
all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And as we
Lots
know,
of
leather armor is a waste of time.
bloody bollocks. It's bollocks.
That's it.
Yeah, these guys look like a menacing horde right here. That was kind of cool though how they came out of the darkness.
Yeah. This is even though it's a bit disjointed at the end and it should have all happened at the same time. This final battle scene is actually okay. The choreography is not brilliant, but it's all right. It's entertaining enough. So they've fallen for the trick. They've gone into the moat.
Yeah, sent their sacrificial wave forward. And yet they have not closed the gate. I mean, theoretically, they could just as easily do the whole Hollywood shooting a fire arrow from the parapets into the thing as simply as they could throw a torch at it.
Now they couldn't resist a bit of damseling there. Tanya's got herself caught in the
have more clothing torn off as well.
Yeah.
Oh, dude just bought it right in the chest.
Yeah, and that's Tal, the younger son's just been shot in the fortunately not in the heart. And the battle begins.
Here we go.
So one of the better scenes in this is the way that you've got a full body burn going on. There we go. That's a fantastic explosion. That's where most of the money went on this movie.
They didn't budget enough for clothing, so they had to go with the explosion.
Yeah. And this is the cool bit, the way that they keep fighting out of the flames, and you got some of these guys fighting while they're on fire. So that's pretty well done.
That's that never give up attitude right there.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to intimidate him by swinging his sword in an irrational fashion, as opposed to adopting a guard.
Yeah.
Who are these guys on horseback? They're retreating? Come at me, bro.
He's sending his sort of men in to try and attack them first. And then eventually what happens is the leader challenges the Beastmaster one-on-one.
Single combat.
Yeah.
There we go. He went for the horse's legs. That would have been your best bet.
That's it. I was about to say that, yeah. That's what you would do every time.
Every time. If you're on foot and the guy's on a horse, you go for the horse.
Yep.
Here they are clamoring out of the fire.
He's got some studded armor there, which we'll assume is a brigandine.
We'll pretend it's a brigandine? Okay.
We'll pretend it's a brigandine, even though it's not. It's a squealing sound. This scene is actually repeated. That where those two crawl out of the fire. You see that about 3 or 4 times. Those reuse the same footage.
I'll cut down on production costs as well.
Yeah. So now they're surrounded.
Now, I've done a little research into like medieval English quarterstaff fighting, and that's actually kind of close to how you would have used it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have used it like you see in the movies where they have it like at the half staff where you could have, but generally they were gripped down towards the bottom and almost used like a long club.
Yeah, it was a distance weapon as well. Yeah. Right. So it's basically, So here comes the leader of the June barbarians. Challenges 1-to-1, and you find out that this is a club, which is also a flail. Well,
there
a
you
mace,
go.
I suppose, which is also a flail.
He's got spikes on it, of course. These movies and their mechanical spikes that pop out of things.
Yeah, you've always got to have poppy out spikes and blades and all this.
Yeah, the impracticality of it all is whatever.
Yeah.
And he has a sword as well. Good for him. He's got a nice backup weapon.
Yep. So there we go. Now he's off the horse. He's lost most of his advantage.
Why didn't he just mind control the horse into the fire?
Yeah.
With him on top of it. That's what I'd have done. Maybe he had compassion for the horse and didn't want to hurt it.
Now this guy's off the horse. Look at him. He's a right fatso, isn't he? There's no way. He's big. He's taller. There's no way anybody like that could, with Mark Singer being trim there. There's no way he could beat him. You know.
I would disagree. I've seen guys fight with swords or in armored combat and stuff.
Yep.
A lot of it's skill. If you've got the skill and you know how to attack, when to attack, and all that kind of stuff, I mean, I would pick a guy with skill over physique any day.
Right.
Now, this is strange. He's got a T handle on the bottom of that flail, which is odd.
Yeah.
It's an odd way to use a weapon like that. There's no way to defend yourself while you're doing that.
Yeah. And there you go. I think the key was, he chopped off one of his wings on his helmet first, and now he's just, hoist him by his own flail. He's still not dead. He's got to kick him in the wing, kick him in the ear.
The other thing, man, is if a weapon like that is getting stuck every single time you swing it into something, it's not useful. It's a bad weapon if you can't use it and it's impractical.
Yeah. So he's thrown him into the fire, beating the baddie. So this is again the movie's over. Really, I mean, it's he's beating all the big baddies, and the horde are still surrounding them. But look what's happening. The eagles come back, which means only one thing.
Yep, eagle men are going to eat well tonight.
The gastro eagle digesto men are back.
The digesto men, I love it. It kind of gave me like a vampire quality too, or a vibe, I should say.
And the sound effects again, like somebody sucking a McFlurry.
Yeah. A pile of dry bones come out.
And it's just the dry noise. It's like
dry bones, and they leach the marrow from their very bones.
Let's get out of here. It's
probably a good idea.
Yeah. We're supposed to believe they're sort of flying away as well. And he gives them the nod. There you go. Nod.
Yeah, that's the I have no thumbs, but I'm giving you the thumbs up right there nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, as he's pulling away, it looks like he's flying out.
Yeah.
What an odd camera angle.
Yeah. Right.
You mean all those peasants that were sitting on their ashes in town couldn't have come out and helped them when they were surrounded instead of the eagle guys?
Yeah, they didn't get paid enough to be part of the battle scene.
There was like 8 of those barbarian dudes. There was like 8.
There wasn't a great deal, I have to say. There was no more than 20 at any one time I could see. So this is one of the final scenes here where they're worried that he's not going to sweat. He just rips it out as well. You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, depending upon the arrowhead. It looked like it might have been a bodkin point, which is an armor piercing point, so you could probably rip that out. But you wouldn't do that with a broadhead.
No. And this is about it. He waits to see that his half brother's okay. It looks like John Amos's character there's got some sort of like scimitar sword in a way.
Yeah, he's got sort of those kind of Middle Eastern style blades. Indian swords Arabian swords and
Mm.
swords from the Holy Land and stuff. They kind of have the same sort of look, the same influences.
Mm. So here we've found John Amos's character. Seth has just seen that Dar is actually the rightful king.
Mm-hmm.
And
so he's giving up.
Yeah, he's given up the right to the throne and continues his travels. He's achieved what he wanted to achieve.
Just for the sake of wanderlust, huh?
Yeah, so as we said, like Kroger the barbarian, it's come full circle, and yeah, but he gives the young lad the glaive stroke, boomerang stroke, throwing star.
Yeah. What was with the 80s, man, with all these weird little weapons like that? Boomeranging, throwing starry weapons.
Yeah. I think it was... Oh, there we go. Then Tanya's pursuing him because she's decided she wants to be with him. And meanwhile,
the king's running to the temple in his diaper.
Yeah. Loincloth boy runs to the top of the temple. And the eagle's waiting there for him.
They're having a moment.
Yeah. And now he opens up the package to see that it's the weapon. So it's a continuity element. This is really sort of saying, you know, you'll always be there. You know, you'll always be overlooking to see that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Being like, if you ever need me,
I'll be there.
Use the bat signal.
Exactly. Use the use the beast signal.
The beast signal.
Yeah. Now that's definitely California there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to tell because a lot of the Southwest does look like that. It could be Nevada or Arizona or California, but the notes did say it was filmed in California. So, and he's got the girl with him.
There we go. So he has everything.
He does. His cousin.
Yes, his cousin, who so
Kroger the barbarian is a bucktooth cousin fucker.
Kroger the barbarian gonna marry his cousin. And look, the best thing of all is ferret babies.
They're very cute, and it's supposed to make us feel okay about their daddy getting burned alive.
Yeah.
Which I don't feel okay about.
No, that was horrendous. The fact that a ferret died in this movie, that's very problematic.
I'm more concerned about the tiger dying after this movie.
Yeah, the skin disease tiger.
SOBs.
Yeah.
They're making out on a big old rock.
Yes.
See, why would you climb up there in the first place? There's no reason to climb up there because you just got to climb back down the other side. It doesn't lead anywhere.
Exactly. It
leads nowhere.
Pointless machismo. Right, that's it. Well, what were your overall thoughts about the movie, Carl?
I mean, it was fun. It was more. Let's just put it this way. I'm glad that Tanya was in the movie. She made the movie.
Definitely.
But it wasn't anything special. The effects were pretty crappy, to be honest with you. And but if you take it from the point of view that's just supposed to be a fun kind of action adventure movie, it was fine. I mean, I would probably rate it towards. It's certainly below. If I had to rate them all, Conan's obviously top with probably Excalibur right there with it. I'd put it below Dragon. What was it? Dragon Slayer. Yeah. I'd put it below that.
Yeah, I mean, for all its faults, which are really just the low budget, to be honest, it's just it's not terrible, but it's just a fairly standard you know, fairly standard movie, but
it's super tropey and
yeah,
it's super unsophisticated. It's not meant for an audience that wants something deep. That's
yeah.
all.
But the comparison is for $9 million, you get a film where we just sat through a 2 hour movie and it didn't feel like 2 hours. It's over quite quick because of the pacing. The pacing's good, whereas you get something like Krull, which was cost 3 times as much to make, and it feels labored in various parts of the movie.
Right, I think Krull is actually shorter in terms
Yeah,
of runtime.
yeah, exactly.
It
So
seemed
just
longer.
yeah, exactly. So the one thing they did get right with this was the pacing. It goes through quite quickly, and soundtrack's okay. The guy who did the soundtrack's clearly ripping off the melody from the original Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, you're so right.
It's just a total rip of the original Battlestar Galactica tune.
Yeah, Basil
Um,
Polidoris, this the guy is not.
no, but it's decent enough. But yeah, I think if Tanya Roberts wasn't in this movie, if Demi Moore had been in this movie, I really don't think it would have worked.
No,
So
no. Demi Moore is one of those actresses that it took a while of her being a movie star for her to start looking good to me.
yeah,
So I mean, kind of grows on you. But
yeah.
that was all right.
Yeah. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. Like I say, it's still a really entertaining film to watch. It's not highbrow in any way. It's very straightforward. It's a family movie. It's a kind of movie you could watch as a family, except for that one scene.
Some Dolphins,
That
buddy.
one scene is like definitely not family rated.
Quite a few crotch shots as well.
Yeah. So I don't know what you would do in those scenes. But yeah, overall, not a terrible film. Entertaining, but nothing groundbreaking at all. So the next time we do this, will be 2 weeks' time, and again, we'll put a poll up and let you decide what you want to watch. So we're doing this fantasy series, fighting fantasy movies, and the last one in this series will be in 2 weeks. And after that, we're going to change the format slightly, and we'll let you know about that. But everybody who's appeared in the chat, thank you for coming along. Thank you for stopping by and watching the movie with us and listening to the show. So thank you to Casey, and also thank you to Mickey Mouse, and also thank you to Johnny Five, and everybody else who came along to watch tonight. And I notice Aldous has also been in the chat there as well. So it'll be 2 weeks' time, which is January the 10th, January the 9th, at 7:30, and we'll wait to see which film we watch. But thank you for everybody coming along. Thank you, Carl. And with that, we'll end tonight's show.
Thanks again for having me, Pete.